All right, we should be live. What is up, everybody? We are back. Man, this is weird. Um, okay. I'm not sure how loud this is either. So let me be careful there. I don't know how loud this headset's gonna pick up. That said though, man, it's the first time live, just like not from the studio in a minute, going back to the Senior Bowl. I think it was the last time we did this. And today we're gonna do what I told y'all we were gonna do. It just didn't happen yesterday. It was supposed to happen yesterday, didn't happen yesterday. Finished up a couple things. It was weird too. Like just the whole timing of trying to kind of dial everything down to get here was all over the place. That was kind of expected, but because of that, I didn't get the show out yesterday. So today I was like, okay, let me jump on. We'll do our top 15 by position. And look, be honest, the top 15 here, there's some movement. Okay, you can have some movement questions, and we could talk through some of those a little bit as well. Some of them I look at, I'm like, I don't know if I look at that. Like one over the other. Why do I have that? Or maybe I got it left off the list because I'm only putting 15 by position. So like when we did edge and interior offensive line, I think it was like 20 some interior offensive line, there's 30 some edge. So it was really different. I didn't really do that for this. I kind of just stuck it to the 15, left some dudes off that we could still talk about. I just didn't put them on the list. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna walk through those. We'll try not to take too long here. As y'all can see, man, we made it. You know what I'm saying? We're in Wisconsin. All right. I don't know my places that well, but we made it. This is a crazy place that we're staying at. So I set my alarm bells. I'm going to get up early. And I'm going to get up super early. We're going to knock this thing out before the day gets started. And then hopefully the plan is still tonight that I'll have my predicted mock draft dropping. That's still the plan. All right. We'll see if anything changes there. But that's still the plan for this to drop. The only thing I'm struggling with a little bit is based on my setup, I don't know if I'll be able to stream it here as well. So I may do something separate just to kind of push that final mock because I think I've already got it created, just doing like some kind of video on top of it. So that being said, let's jump right into it. We'll kind of skip through edge into your offensive line because we've already talked about those two positions. There's two positions that two positions that I really didn't include on this list. So let me just throw them on there. You do not like Green Bay. Look, man, as a team, I'm with you. All right, the place is nice though. We're chilling right now. We're actually not. Yeah, we are in Green Bay. What am I talking about? We are in Green Bay. We drove to Green Bay last night. It was a couple-hour drive after the flight. So that's what made it real weird. But we're here. We're here, and then everything is popping off today. So that's why I want to get this out early because everything's going down today. All right, so let's get right into it. Okay, here we go. I don't know which side of the ball this is. Bam. Okay, here we go. Oh, man, we are just jumping right into this. There's no build up to this. Here we go. The top 15. As you can see, the positions are just kind of random. Let's go through it a little bit. Okay, let's jump into this. Let's go to safety. I want to start with safety first because safety is a position group that we've talked about a lot of these guys. We just haven't really put them in some sort of order. And this is kind of my first time doing that. The back end of safety was the most interesting. So the top end, kind of a ton of surprises here. Malachi Stark at 1. I think you put him at free safety. I like the flexibility, but you put him at free safety. I think the versatility makes a lot of sense. I think it'd be a good Lions fit if we're just talking about that in general. Don't over cheese it. Okay, I see you. I don't know what I see the truth. Okay, I see what you're doing. It's good to see you in here, man. Kevin Winston Jr., we did a video on him a while back, right? He's coming off the ACL injury, so there's going to be concerns. I think he can play at a high level. I think he played at a high level, even though there's a couple of games this past year before the injury. So I think Kevin Winston Jr. is a good player. I know people have questions about some of the instincts, which aren't the highest grade for me. I think he's a well-rounded safety. And I do think at the top end, like there's some real depth here at safety, but I think at the top end there's questions, right? I think there's a lot. Some people might not have Malachi Starks as safety 1, so I think there's some room for variance. I end up going with Kevin Winston. I love the body type. I love what he can bring versatility wise. I think he's a today NFL safety. Then I go Jalen Reed. I told y'all Jalen Reed was going to be high. All right, I'm just putting it out there. I told y'all Jalen Reed was going to be high on my list because let me see if I can do this. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah, because for me, Jalen Reed is one of the more well-rounded safeties in the class. I don't know that every team will be after him, but I think what he does at a very high level. He wasn't far off from me for Kevin Winston, as you can see. So that was actually a debate, like kind of figure out how high I actually wanted to go with Jalen Reed here. But I'm comfy with him at 3. I think Kevin Warrior drops a tad, you could say, because Reed slides up. The thing I would think Kevin Warrior is I like his game, but I have some issues. Like there's just small things, right? I mean, I don't know how much comfortability I'm always going to feel with him as a single high safety, just the fluidity there. He's a pretty aggressive player. He's a big hitter. He's obviously super athletic. You're going to get all those things. Matching all slots probably not going to be the most consistent result, but you can put him on some tight ends. He's built to do that. So he's got a role. You put him in that role. I think he's going to be good. We're echoing. Okay, hold on. Let me check something. Let me check, man. Let me check. All right. That's weird. We shouldn't be echoing. Echo cancellation. All right. We shouldn't be echoing. So there you go. What a dose. My mic is distorted. Okay. We might have to unplug it. You know what I mean? Okay. You know what? Give me 1 second. Let me replug it in. And knowing StreamYard, I'll probably have to. Let me try something real quick.
We'll see if that does anything. If that doesn't do anything, I may just have to go to the speaker of the thing. Y'all let me know. I know it's kind of goofy with this. We can go to the speaker if it still sounds messed up. Where did Jameson Williams come from? No idea, bro. I mean, honestly, no idea. And then I saw the IG stuff yesterday. Okay, cool. Sounds good. But quick on that. Like we were reading things because people think it would make sense. Oh, they have to pay up the 5th-year option. Maybe they are trying to trade him, that kind of thing. And then the post yesterday, I'm going to say this, but I kind of stand with it. I don't think he's getting traded. I think it's a lot of noise. I don't think the dude's getting moved. Now, that's not to say he couldn't be blown away by something, but I think you legitimately have to be blown away, like legitimate. Like, and I don't think a team's going to do that because I also don't think the Lions could be like, oh, hey, here's a 2nd-round pick. That's worth it. Like, no, dude. I don't think they're going to be like, yeah, that's enough. Could be wrong. I don't think that's going to happen. And we've also seen this go horribly wrong before. But that's, every situation is different. With the A.J. Brown situation, Tennessee on draft day, that has worked out horribly for them. So, yeah, I don't see it happening, man. Like, I hear it, but I don't really pay attention to it. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it makes any sense. Trying to replace that is insane. Like, I feel like you would have had to have a better plan. But maybe there's a guy they like in this year's draft. Maybe they love him and they're like, all right, that guy could be the. My thing is, I would have just assumed that they would have went some other route in free agency and grabbed somebody because they already told. Remember, they told us we don't want to have to rely on rookies. Dude, you can't do that and turn around and be like, yeah, we're relying on a rookie to replace JMO. Like, that doesn't make a ton of sense. So I don't think it's going to happen. All right. I'll get back to this list here. We'll kind of fly through this a little bit faster. So, yeah, Eamon Warrior at 4. I have Xavier Watts, who took the ball away at a super high level. Makuba ends up falling in here a little bit. I like watching Makuba play. Right? There's some missed tackles, of course, just by his play style. But overall, I think he's a heck of a player. He'll take the football away, man. He just finds his nose near the football, hit guys. Maybe some flexibility in his game, too. Billy Bowman Jr. is an interesting one. Some people look at him as a corner, right, because he can cover that well. I wish I was higher on him as his physicality and his run defense consistency. Everything else, though, to me is a plus in coverage, which is not easy to find. And I think there is true flexibility there. He can basically settle down as your slot if you wanted him to. I'm going Noel Williams. I know he's a cornerback. I'm saying he goes to safety. I just think it makes too much sense for him. I think it'll kind of expand the ball skills, which is one of the biggest strengths of his game, the physicality that he already carries in his game. It could minimize some of the concerns as well, which is some of the positional things at cornerback. So for me, I think you put him at safety, he's going to be good. I think he'd be good both, but I think you put him at safety, he may even be more well-rounded for teams. It worked with Gibbs. It worked with Laporta. Why not JMO? It worked with Gibbs, but I think the Gibbs one was much different because for me, DeAndre Swift wasn't playing well. So there was that aspect. Like, DeAndre Swift wasn't on the way up. Also, Swift had 1 year left at the time. JMO, if you pick the 5th-year option, you have 2. So I know it's an if, but for $15 million, I don't think there's any problem with doing that. The Laporta one, that's a good point that they did do that one with Laporta. But I also feel like they gave themselves time too, right? Because they did it during the season. And it's like, okay, you did it during the season. You gave yourself time. You gave yourself the offseason to address it. I just don't like it right after free agency. To me, that doesn't make sense. Could be wrong. I don't agree with the Gibbs one, though, because I don't think that was the same. Swift didn't play well with the Lions. Like, that one had the writing on the wall, dude. You could project that one. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That one doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, that one was a mess. All right, let me try this real quick, and we'll see how this goes. If it doesn't work, I don't know, to be honest. So, here, let me try this. Maybe. All right, I think I just switched the mic. I'm down at the draft headquarters in Green Bay, fellas. It's going to be so pathetic. You're down at the draft headquarters? Okay, I'll look out for you. I don't know what that means exactly, but I'll look out for you, Donkey Kong. Okay, I'll see you. All right, let me finish up this one. So let me know. We got Craig Woodson. I think he's more of a split safety, so I think there's going to be some limitations, but he moves really well for safety. Caleb Ransaw, we know he kind of settled into the slot. I just put him at safety. I think that would help him. You just kind of put him in the safety. Don't make him live in the nickel as much at the next level. Let him live at the safety position. His athleticism is going to carry over there. I'll just put him at safety. Then I'm going to go Max and Hook from Toledo. Of course, you like the pursuit this guy plays with. He was kind of used as like the robber within the defense, kind of just settled down the middle of the field. My thing is he plays really good depth. I think he plays a really nice field, kind of cuts off routes to the middle of the field really well. I think his vision, he can kind of play hash to hash. In college, it's a whole different game than the NFL. There could be some cover three upside. I wonder a little bit about him as a center fielder, but there could be some cover three upside, right? You could potentially put him in there a little bit. There just may be more limitations there. He might be a little bit more split field. I don't know that he's the twitchiest safety either, which is kind of the problem. But I love the way he plays the game. He'll be good on special teams. And then for 15, I ended up putting Lane out of Navy, who is incredibly aggressive, moves incredibly well, just puts himself in a lot of bad spots. He'll give him things over top. He'll throw some ugly tackles because he'll kind of just come flying in on his knees. But the best of Lane is really fun to watch. And he was kind of used as like a third safety at safety, or at Navy, I should say. Settled in, kind of play the middle of the field. So Lane gets the nod, but I also would throw Fortune, O'Donnell Fortune from South Carolina. I think he's another guy you transition to safety next level. You don't have to. You leave him in off coverage, leave him in cover three. I think if you transition to safety, he could have success. He does have the ball skills for that as well. So I'm just going to kind of tie those two together because one's a positional change. But I would probably lean Lane, but I think the back end is the most interesting here because we got Jordan Hancock on there who also played in the slot. A lot of versatility. You can trust him against the run. So versatility is the name of the game this year for safety. A lot of these guys have it. I'm sure the Lions will be after at least one of them. Cornerback wise, okay. So for me, Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron, those two are kind of straightforward. I like Jahdae Barron a lot. I don't feel the Brian Branch impact against the run that Brian Branch had. Brian Branch was lead against the run. I don't feel that with Jahdae Barron. Maxwell Hairston, I guess there's been some weird stuff popping up. I don't know about all that, but I guess so. I don't know. Maxwell Hairston was awesome in 2023. I liked him in 2024. Obviously, he's a little bit undersized, kind of tries to push against that a little bit. So there's going to be teams that just aren't in on Hairston, but we know he tested incredibly well as well. So all those things came together. Amos is one of the more well-rounded cornerbacks. I think of that next group where everybody's kind of like, oh, who do we put next? I think it's one of the most well-rounded corners in this year's draft, right? I had some issues in press, right? Some consistency issues there, getting up, sticking with guys through deeper routes, but for the most part, and then he tested well. Like Amos is can play kind of all different styles at cornerback. Siobhan Revel gets in here as well, or Savon Revel. I think they say Savon Revel. It sounds cooler than what I'm saying. Let me also go to I want to focus on these next ones, right? Because I end up putting Jacob Parrish up here pretty high. I like Jacob Parrish. I don't love him right now, but I think what he could turn into is the excitement for Jacob Parrish. I wanted to check my notes, make sure, because some of these guys are new. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything specific here. Yeah, Thomas. Okay, so we do have a couple new guys though, to this list, and they kind of shake it up. I mean, you can only get so close right now. I got you. Okay. Yeah, we'll have some. I think we got some media things that we're going to be doing here pretty soon. So I don't know how it's all going to go down, but I know we got some stuff coming up, so we'll be ready for that. We'll keep you all updated too what that's going to look like. Okay, and then I'm going to go with Benjamin Morrison. I know people like Benjamin Morrison a lot. Like, yeah, if he wasn't injured, man, this guy could be super high. Maybe not as high on Benjamin Morrison. I think clearly based on this. I do understand it though. There is man upside. I think he could settle in his zone though as well. Like I understand he played a lot of man in college. I think his best spot actually could be zone, like more zone coverage. But at least the flexibility is there. Just a lot of inconsistencies for me in man coverage. And then we're going to go Bilal Cohn out of Western Michigan. He's one of the most fun watches, I think, at cornerback. To me, this is just such a smart player. He played really well against both of his top-tier competitions last season. I think he played Ohio State and was it Wisconsin? He played really well in both of those games. He just has a really good feel for it, right? He can kind of recognize route concepts, which specifically that's what you go back to the safety side. That's what Max and Hook can do as well. He kind of reads through route combos, smart player. But when you watch Cohn plays the game to me at a really high level. There's so much consistency. He's not the best athlete, but he'll recover. It's adequate, to kind of get back into some plays. He'll play the run. He's pretty long. I think that's a heck of a player. I am in Green Bay right now. We're going to go McWilliams comes in next. This is the UCF corner, man. This dude's a heck of an athlete. Short area, could move the slot at the next level. that would make some sense as well. Just kind of leave him in the slot. And he showcased that he could do that this past season. What is he, just under 200 pounds at 5'10"? So he's a short, stocky corner that ran a 4.4 flat, 1.5, 210. Not as explosive, I guess, with the vertical times, but the reactive athleticism is very good. And to me, the play speed is slightly above average. There, you're going to need some dialing in. I think like an off-man coverage specifically, but I also think he's pretty good in both spots. Like there's press upside here. He can give up a little bit too much space, but then he can also work in zone. He kind of reads body language a little bit. I'm going to put Dorian Strong. I think there's certain systems that'll fit him. I think if you let him play off, I would pick Arizona for Dorian Strong. I think that he'd work well there. I'm going to go to Walleye. I think it's how you pronounce it. Walleye out of Minnesota. Justin Walleye, 5'10", 186. Again, to me, it's all critical factors. You know, he could go higher. He's such an athlete. Like he's a very good reactive athlete. His play speed is good as well, and his ball skills are kind of, you know, I guess could have more questions, but to me, he's a plus in that category. He's just a little bit short at the catch point. Let me try. That's weird. There's not even an option, which is the goofy thing. Unless I'm missing it, I think there's like an option to like run it through the. Maybe if I unplugged it, maybe if I just unplugged it would be an option. I'll just keep switching back and forth. If it just goes choppy, then it's just not choppy. I'll just switch it. Because I think if I unplug it, like I don't get audio or something. I don't know. I guess I could try it. I just don't even know what it would. Like maybe here, let me do this.
Test. Y'all let me know. How does this sound? Y'all let me know. Let me do one more testing of this before I keep going. This is like an option on here. I didn't even know it was an option. So I'm just, I just want to hear kind of how this thing sounds. I think this is coming through the. I think it's coming through the thing I'm using. I think if that's the case, we might have more consistency. It probably won't sound great, but it probably won't be choppy. And so there's that. Also, it would be good to figure that out going forward. Like, hey, what does work? Hope I don't have to get a different mic down here. That'd be unfortunate. We'll see. All right. We'll test that, figure out where that's at, and just keep it moving because we do have a lot of players to get through here. Check this real quick. Oh, that works too. No longer choppy. All right, we'll just leave this. I'll check it after we do the show. I'll check it to make sure I can figure out the headset, and I guess this is fallback option. So I appreciate that. What up, Charles? I see you, Charles. All right, we're gonna keep flying. Where are we at? Okay, we're at corner. Yeah. Okay. Look, dude, there's some real legit corners. I'm a Cone guy. I think Cone's good connect. I know it's early, but it's also part of that too is like it's 7 o'clock here, so it's even earlier where we are. I got up at 5. I was like, yo, we got to get this thing done. I'm going to go with Quincy Riley. I think Quincy Riley's a good zone corner. I think people might be a little bit closer to kind of the midline there in terms of like press, that ability specifically. But Quincy Riley also plays the game, I think, in a way that you like, in a way that teams will kind of buy into at the next level. Then we're going to go to Bryant and Burke. Actually, here's the kind of put it together. So I ended up going Kobe Bryant. I'm a little bit lower on Kobe Bryant. Yeah, the Wi-Fi, it was, I think as it gets later in the day, it just gets worse. How many people are up? My guess is people are awake now. So it was better in the morning. And actually, I think I like Hunter as a full-time corner, part-time offensive weapon, just for easing kind of the snaps a little bit. But I think he could be awesome at wide receiver. And I feel like if I'm a team, I want to get him the football more. He could be a little hit miss the corner, but he was much better, I think, even this past year. So I just want to give him the football. But you can list him anywhere. I just put him at receiver in this list, but you can put him either one. I think for the next level, the corner is probably easier. Just give him some snaps at receiver. That'd be my guess. That's easier to kind of limit his snap count. So yeah, Kobe Bryant is a little bit lower for me, but again, you get into the right spot, he's going to work. He also could have position flexibility. I ended up throwing Denzel Burke. I feel like Burke's 16 though. I don't feel like Denzel Burke was supposed to be here, but he's here. So Denzel Burke, welcome to the party, buddy. I don't know how you got in here, but you did it. But Denzel Burke's a heck of an athlete. It's just positionally, there's so many things that need work. There's so many areas where he's below average right now, which is a problem because he's not the youngest guy either. But you can buy into the capabilities. Yes, I do have Loveland number 1 at tight end, and this was really from more watching Warren, kind of walking away from Warren, saying, I could see him. It's a flavor, right? But Loveland to me just So I think both will be successful. And to me, I think Loveland is just going to work. Like, I don't. In today's NFL, you let him pass. If you use him for what he does well, he's going to get himself open. There's times where I don't think Warren gets himself that open. He still makes the play because he's just a problem at the catch point. Like, it's just unreal. And then he's great with the ball. But I love Loveland's ability to get the ball open. You know, you think about, like, there's a couple guys on here. You think about Laporta, how good he was with Iowa, and that offense was trash. Loveland basically that with Michigan last year. The offense was trash when he was out there. He was awesome. I was like, yeah, this is our only receiver. So he's been that for years. Loveland is fantastic. Those are tight, though. You know, you can go either way you want to go. Harold Fannin ends up going to number 3 here. And again, the receiving upside is everything, but he's a blocker. He's a movement piece of the blocker. I like that as well. Mason Taylor then kicks in right above Elijah Arroyo. Those two are really tight for me. I think I could flip those two as well and feel pretty comfortable with it. Arroyo's got a weird build. He feels a little bit top heavy, but man, he's basically like a big slot receiver, like a massive slot receiver. I think at his best, you go to Darren Waller. I think the Giants make a ton of sense for a piece like that. Then Gunnar Helm, who I'm a little bit higher on Gunnar Helm. Okay, the receiving I think is more upside than maybe what's even showcased with Texas. I think he could be a pretty well-rounded tight end. Then we go to Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame, who we talked about in last week's video. I think it was Mitchell Evans. So to me, he's a good player. I don't think he should fall that far, to be honest, because he's not a bad athlete. To me, he's explosive pass catcher and a run blocker. I wish he was a better run blocker. To me, it's probably below average right now, just blocking in general. Pass pro, you can throw that in there too. He's not a dominant blocker. There's inconsistencies with it, but he can get himself open. And look, that tends to nod for tight ends. Like, yeah, you can create your own separation. Obviously, you see I did that with Loveland as well here. Then you go to Ferguson out of Oregon, tests incredibly well. I don't think he always plays that. Play speed was just kind of my issue. Fadone, to me, can also get himself open, but he was kind of using like a 3 tight end grouping with Nebraska, which limited just some of the exposure. We have Hawes on here. Hawes is a terrific blocker. Like, it's not just like, hey, man, this guy's a good blocker. This dude is a terrific blocker. He's good in space. He's good in line. He's got a latch. He's got a sustain. He can do all those things. He just doesn't do much in the pass game. He didn't even see much production. He never even went over 200 yards receiving. Eurosec out of Georgia comes in here next. He actually had a massive season a couple of years ago, and that could be the thing that helps. In 2022, I think it was, he had like 900 yards. So you tie that with the fact that he's also he's a good blocker. He's a plus blocker as well. He feels like a guy that team will take a swing on a day 3, not for what he is, but for what they think they could potentially get him to. Right? That's why you take a swing on a guy like Eurosec, because right now, as a blocker, he's a plus blocker. He's slightly above average. I think he's good in pass pro. You could trust him there. He has a chance to stick on the roster because of that. He's built well. 6'4", 245, was kind of the number 2 tight end. But like I said, a couple of years ago, he had 50 receptions. Last year, he had 15. And that's kind of how it's been the last couple of years. As a receiving, below average, but you can try to turn that into as a player. Conyers comes in here. Again, it's a weird one because his route tree, like I think there's more detail that's going to have to be added for him to actually separate. I like his build. Like, he carries his weight, I think, pretty well to open up some things in the passing game and kind of build up speed, run away from guys a little bit. The cuts are great. But then he'll also block. Right? He has a build to block as well and potentially find some kind of landing spot there. Let me grab this. And then, we got Dupree, who I'm a fan of Dupree. Like, I don't have my actual notes with me, unfortunately. They're on my phone, but they're on my docs. But I do like Dupree. I think that he showed out at the Senior Bowl to me. He's like one of those sleeper guys that is like, hey, I can flash a little bit pass game. I can block, but I can also flash here. Dupree's one of my, I'd be willing to take. I think he's going to go super late, but I'd be willing to bet on him towards the end, see what happens. Bringspool's weird. He's basically just a slot receiver. It's like, yeah, you're just drafting a receiver. And honestly, he fits him well because Gadsden out of Syracuse is kind of the same thing. Those these guys, I know we are on early. Both of these guys are basically just receivers. Now, I think Gadsden, the hope is that maybe you could, have him do enough so you could maybe get him out as a move blocker. I didn't feel like he was overly aggressive, which is a problem too, but he's got a great catch radius. This dude has hands like crazy. I think that he's more agile than what others will note as well. He doesn't really bend that much as a route runner, which is a problem, but he was incredibly productive this past year, kind of just used like a receiver. Is the upside of Shane Zylstra type, maybe something like that, right? That's where you can get to. Receiver, a lot of these guys we talked about, Hunter goes 1, put him wherever you want, but he'll go one here. I don't know that he'd be one at corner. He would. Nah, he probably would. But I'll put him one here pretty comfortably. Luther Burden, I like him a lot. We'll see who's willing to take a flyer, but Luther Burden's awesome. I love watching him routes. I understand the production dipped. His quarterback was garbage last year, and the whole play was garbage. He's great with the ball in his hands. He can get open. Like to me, Luther Burden is such a well-rounded piece. It's just a player. We'll see where it all connects on the off-the-field stuff. Ted McMillan flies in at number 3 here. We'll see. I think he's going to be all over the board. Obviously, there's been questions about where this guy's going to actually go. He's the big body type. I think early on I got the vibes of closer to Drake London, even though I didn't think he was Drake London. But he had that ability where it was like, all right, he's not going to dominate dudes, but he can kind of open up every level of the field, can do some work with the ball in his hands. He's a pretty awesome athlete for the size that he has. The elegant disrespect. I felt this was respectful. I was like, let me get him on the top 15 for Panda. That's why I did this. I thought I was being super respectful. You know what I mean? We got Higgins in there that kind of rounds out the top. Was that 6? And that's when everything's kind of messy, right? We got Jack Besh, who's just a guy I'm willing to take a swing on. I hope he falls, and then we can just take him at 60. But I don't think he's going to. But if he did, it'd be great. I mean, this dude has awesome hands, ball skills. Sometimes I don't think he always tracks it incredibly well, but he has a feel for his own coverage. I love watching that dude play. Jalen Royals on as well. I think he's got a well-rounded game. I think his build is huge. He's so stout as a runner. It's hard to slow him down as a mover, as a route runner. Kyle Williams comes in here. Kyle Williams, we know that everybody will talk about what he can do off the ball. He can do a lot after the catch, though. And this guy is like home run threat. Getting the ball, it's like, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? I got the ball. I'm out of here. It's like, all right, I see you, Kyle Williams. That's his game. Now, that said, I don't think he's a great route runner, which is why he's a touch lower for me. That's a problem. I think Royals show that he can open the whole route tree. He's not a great route runner for me. There's too many like reps where they're not great. It's like, hey, he's fading. He's kind of running out routes. You know, he's breaking these things off, and they're kind of getting wide on him. I don't like things like that, or he allows some space in backhand. But he has a feel, too, right? He's got a sideline feel, which is very impressive. And then we go to Jalen Knoll, which I don't feel like he flashes as much as I would like to, but his flashes are up there with some of the best. Obviously, he's undersized. His catch radius is a problem, which just limits him. You got to get him in the right spot. But at his best, he's got some of the most fun plays to watch from a receiver. Get off the ball, separate the top of the route, and make the play on the ball. He's got all those things he can tie together. Sideline feel, you can do all those things together. Pat Bryant making the top 15, though, shocking. Hey, come on, you know what I mean? No, Pat Bryant's going to be interesting because I actually had a case to move him higher. I thought about moving him higher on this list when I was kind of all done with it. There was a couple guys. Receivers so deep. There was a few guys that I considered kind of throwing on here. And these are kind of the ones that I felt most comfortable with. Like I thought about Lambert Smith out of Auburn. He had consideration. I just don't like him really getting off the ball or route running. I don't think is great either. So those kind of things held him back a little bit. Like I said, Kyle Williams' route running to me is average, but he does a lot of things so well that it's like, all right, he's going to be up there. Who are we at? Oh, we're at Trey Harris now. Yeah, Trey Harris for me. Trey Harris was good this last year. And the big thing is, you know, he kind of dialed and he's catching the ball more consistently. He's got slightly above average hand for me, which is the big thing there. But he does all the critical factors, I think, at a plus level, which is nice. But he does run routes well. You know, it wasn't the deepest route tree. It's kind of like, oh, hey, run a hitch and run a post corner. It's like, okay, this is the most diverse offense. But at 6'2", 205, the dude's 23 years old. The 4.5, 440, he still separates over top. He wins early and he stacks guys. Just doesn't always sustain that. He's a vertical threat, but he showed an ability to win, I think, at a lot of different levels, and that's where I bought into, like, this guy's a route runner. Ty Felton. Ty Felton's got a circle. Chat, Lions fans here, circle this dude, okay? If you're like, hey, what about, like, a late-round receiver or something that, like, maybe they'll take a swing on, I think that's Ty Felton. I think Ty Felton could be that guy for the Lions. It definitely could be Pat Bryant as well. But, man, the more I watched Ty Felton, the more I was like, dude, this guy. I had, like, there was a little buzz for him early. There's some love for him, and then just the more you kind of dive into, you're like, I could see this. The problem is the hands aren't great for me, which is a problem, and that's more of a technical side. He's built well, 6'1", 180. I guess a little bit on the slimmer side, but he wins at all 3 levels. I think he might need to get a little bit stronger, right? Kind of be more of a physical, contested finisher. But to me, he has good separation upside, and he has good route running already that can allow him to tap into more of that. He's okay getting off the ball, but then also he has that vertical speed. He can get over the top. It's just contact balance, finishing through traffic needs to be more consistent. But I think his ability to just separate at all 3 levels, tied along with the 4.37 40, the 37-inch or basically 40 and vertical jump. I mean, like all those things, man, they kind of bring it home. And then Pat Bryant's on here, and I'm going to tell you about a name that I considered heavily. Mount. Obviously, I think everything since the Senior Bowl has been like, oh, this isn't good. People have been all down on him since the Senior Bowl. It was weird because he actually cooked at the Senior Bowl. Just the way that he ran his routes, for like, yeah, you can't probably do that at the next level. But I think his film tells a different story. I think he does things a lot more efficiently in college, and that was Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson was the one guy I kind of considered throwing on this list. So yeah, we got Pat Bryant. Pat Bryant, 6'2", 204. I don't know if I buy too much of like how high the ceiling can get to. That's kind of yet to be determined. But he's super efficient off the release. He knows how to win. He attacks leverage immediately. He's a plus route runner as well. It was just from the factors were all pluses too. Like I had a case to move him up. I thought I could move him to 12. I thought I could put him at 11. But to me, I just wonder a little bit about the full upside here. I know last year he kind of took off. He was more consistent with his hands. Last year he showed nice hands specifically. He ran the 4.61 40, which will definitely hurt him. That's not great. And I think that does show up on the field, just trying to run away from guys specifically. It definitely shows up. 3-star that this year took a big step forward. Had a case to go higher. The testing probably doesn't help him a ton there, but the build does. The consistency off the line does. And again, I think he's a plus route runner, which kind of plays in this. And he looks for work as a run blocker. He's one of these guys that shies away from run blocking. So the team could also buy like there's toughness here too with the guy. I can't remember who it was. I'm at the find. There's one of these guys that I like too because they had like I just skipped right over him. Torrey Horton. I was like, wait a minute. I know I had some Torrey Horton, man. So 2-time team captain, smart as heck. I think he's on the field, his football intelligence just pops. Like I think he's a smart player. He gets his teammate line, like, hey, go here, dude. All right, what are you doing? Let's line this thing up. But he was also just a big player. I mean, he was out there was like no pass game. So kind of talking about the Loveland thing, that's kind of what he was. He was Mr. Third Down, get open for us. He can really make some crisp breaks for a guy his size, which is pretty nuts. It's just for me, some pacing you could have a little more decisiveness off the release to kind of separate himself a little bit more. He does have some long speed. Let me see if I have my notes handy with him. Where am I at? I don't think I have my notes. That's unfortunate. I think I left my binder. I should have got those out. I did. It's all good. That's what I'm buying into, though. I'm buying into that. I'm buying into the football intelligence. I think the character, 2-time team captain, does say a lot. He was, limited this last year. He played in, so it's not even like he played in this many games. So, where was the stat? Like he almost had 400 yards, but also some of those games he played, he just wasn't on the field, which is a problem. So I think the route tree has some diversity. I think he could open up level 2 routes specifically, which is huge because of his movement skills. It's just I think he can improve off the line a little bit, not get himself kind of pushed out of plays. Doesn't really run away from defenders incredibly well, so you see some of that speed. It's like, all right, he's not blazing fast, but I think there's a well-rounded nature to his game. A guy his size, it's pretty hard to find that. So he gets in there at 13, I think that was. Let's go to the other side. We have one more graphic. Bear with me. Appreciate y'all joining. How you doing? Okay, it's draft week. It's draft week. We'll be fired up. Let's go to the next graphic. Or draft eve, I guess. All right, so edging into your offensive line, we've already talked about those. I just threw them on the screen, but I just cut out my top 15, threw them on there. It's the other two, all right? So let's go to linebacker. So you can see I got Jalen Walker 1. If I put him as an edge, he'd probably be 2. I think he's got a case for 1, but he'd probably be 2. Outside of that, that's where everything gets all over the place. Demetrius Knight, I'm still high on him. I didn't want to lower him just because it's like, oh, we're getting close to the draft, so for some reason I decided to lower him. Like, I'm not going to do that. I know he's older. Understood. I still like him a lot. So Demetrius Knight for me, super well-rounded. I ended up just throwing him in here. I already see the comments. We're gonna get to. But he's a thumper, man. He's got the build for it. I love watching Knight's game. I think he's super. I think he's so smart. He's got the leadership background qualities to him as well. Like I think teams would be really happy with him. We have Jahad Campbell up there next. Again, I'm a little bit lower grade wise, but I do think he's only round 1. If he fell just because of the injury, I'd be a little surprised, to be honest with you. Not out of the first round. I don't understand how do you get out of the first round. I think his critical factors is scream first round, like to a really high level. It's like, yeah, this dude should be a first round pick. And then with people buying in flexibility, a first round pick. I don't think linebacker is like nickel corner where it's like, well, maybe we can put him outside. Like, I think it's different. It's like people are like, well, maybe we just let him rush the passer. That shouldn't fall that far. That said, I'm a tad lower. I would like to see him be utilized in coverage more. And I think if you allow him to do that, he could be special. I've said that many times. I think if you allow him to work coverage, he can be special. Carson Schlesinger, though, instinctually is so sound. I think his buzz maybe jumped a little bit too high when people started saying that he's Fred Warner, but Warner, was a mid-round pick as well. I love Carson Schlesinger. I think he's the most fun player to watch for me. Some hit and miss in coverage just in terms of kind of the spots that he gets to, and also for me specifically in man, I think he's a better zone coverage linebacker, which I think will kind of hurt his chances with the Lions. Let's go to Danny Stutzman, who works his way up here. Stutzman, in comparison to everybody at the next level, to me, just gets the nod. He's a smart player. I understand he's looking like the best athlete on the field, but I think he positions himself well for the run. He's got a great build as well for the spot. Chris Paul Jr. ends up sliding in here. I just think that he's a little bit safer than this next group, which is kind of my nod. I don't think he's great at a lot of things right now. I think there's flexibility. Like, you put the dude, audio's in it again. This thing is just tweet. Hey, hold up. All right. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna unplug it. All right, let me do this. Hang with me. All right. I feel like that fixed nothing, but I did it. Okay, let me do this. All right. Y'all let me know. Bam. All right. I'm gonna keep trying to rock with what we were rocking with. It seemed like it was working. So you let me know. Seemed like it was working. But we'll find out. Because I do have the mic, but it's just like the mic seems to be just giving up about 20 minutes in. So I can go back to the mic. I'm sure it sounds better, but it just seems to just give up after about 10 minutes. So I would rather find some little more just better. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Shout out to StreamYard, man. Chris Paul Jr. I think he might be his best on the ball. I think there's flexibility to his game, which is great. Samil Mondon Jr. or Samal, I don't know how you say his name. I heard it. That's pretty cool. It's the coverage upside, right? At 6'2", 225, he plays strong. He's physical. He's kind of like, if you guys watch Rucker play out of North Carolina, he's kind of like that as an off-ball player. I think he plays the game too slow. I think between the tackles, you're going to have problems. I think you put him out in space, you could limit some of that. Let him play in space. Let him play towards the field. Let him run. Let him be comfy doing things like that. And I think you're going to get the best out of him. I think he can be a plus blitzer. He times well. He's a great finisher. He's stout, super stout. So Mondon to me has a lot more of the traits. Like, Mondon's traits to me are probably better than Stutzman and Paul. It's just right now I don't think he plays that fast, which is a problem. It's kind of trying to find his spot at the next level is the problem. It's high, man. Shoot it. I could certainly put it in my I think this next group is all over the place. Kobe Simon gets in out of Ohio State. It's consistent. I like his consistency. I like it against the run. It pops even when you're not looking for him. Kobe King, yeah, this one's kind of a shot in the dark a little bit, but Kobe King, I just like watching him play, and I understand it's gonna be hard to find. And here's the problem with him, right? I think he has to get to his ceiling to work in the NFL. So it's like, dude, you're taking a real risk with this guy. But if you can get him in day 3, it's okay. At his best, he reminds me of the old Rams linebacker that did really well, and then ultimately got traded. But at his best, I felt like that's what he could be, right? I feel like he could. Let me get the exact notes here on our guy. Where do I got him? Okay, I guess I don't have him right there. What was that linebacker's name? And now he's slipping my mind for some reason. I'm trying to figure out, did I have his name? What was he? Can't remember what his name was. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He got traded to Tennessee. Anyways, it'll come back to me. I think at his best, he can be that, right? You want to live in between tackles. He's so physical. He's stout as heck. But I think he reads it pretty well, right? I think it's a consistent pace to his game as a run defender. Coverage isn't great, but he gets to his spots, right? He can almost kind of play him in the flat, like let him drop like 5 yards and less, and you're probably be pretty comfy with it. Man coverage might be a disaster, so you might be limited unless you like, hey, we're really dude, don't match him up on like anybody that runs routes. Like if he runs a flat, okay, much outside of that maybe not. And sometimes I only feel like he plays with the play speed that worked in college that won't work in the NFL, but he's got to get to his ceiling, I think, to work. But I think he actually has a chance to get there, which is the positive. Okay, Barrett Carter comes in next year. I'm a little bit lower. I think people are very high on him, and to me, this is probably the one guy of the group that if he went way higher than I have, I don't think I would be super surprised. I'd be surprised. I've heard buzz like, yo, day two for Barrett Carter. So I don't really buy that that's going to happen, because I feel like linebacker is one of those spots where consistency does kind of lead the way for guys getting drafted. But there's enough all over the place from linebacker, I think, this year where, maybe someone does surprise and get a little bit higher than we expect. You like Bassa? I'm lower on Bassa. obviously, as you can see. But for me, Carter's not a bad player. His football intelligence is closer to average, maybe even a little bit below average at times. I think he plays the game with plus speed. His average upside is there too. The big positive for Carter is he can really play man coverage. He's one of the better man covered, I think, linebackers in this class. Doesn't tackle incredibly well. He's not the best in terms of shedding blocks. I think that's actually one of his worst traits. Doesn't blitz that well either for me. But he can play man coverage at a high level. I think there's not a ton of guys that I love in man. He can. As you see, I'm lower on Bass. 6'0", 232. Tested really well. He reminded me of Grant Stewart, but I think there's a better comp for that in this year's draft. But he reminded me of watching Grant Stewart a little bit. That's kind of where I got with it. It's just about positional. Like, what do you feel comfortable with? He plays really fast, right? He feels really quickly. He's dynamic. He kind of redirects really well. He's got sudden movements. He's a really fast communicator. Communicates well pre-snap in the box. He does a lot of those things well. I'm a little bit lower on where I think he's going to be able to fit. I think you're going to have to find a really tight spot for him to kind of thread the needle. But if you do find a spot that can kind of minimize some of the concern with, a ton of the stack and shed consistency, but kind of lean into the fact that, okay, he does some things well. He enters wide. He settles himself down a little bit. He can maybe add something as a blitzer because of long strides. He's finding the right spot, but I think he'll go higher than what I have here. Jack Kaiser, to me, Jack Kaiser can blitz his butt off. I think that's going to be one of the best aspects for him is that he can get after the quarterback. Didn't expect it to be the case when going through him, but he's one of my better blitzers, dude. He's one of my better blitzers on here. So that's the big thing. That's the big reason he's on here is because of that. Outside of that, though, he does play the game with good speed. I like how he plays the game. I don't think has the best feel on the field, which I was hoping would be a little bit better. And then his coverage is a little bit more middling to me. He doesn't shed blocks incredibly well, but he's a plus blitzer. He's slightly above average as a blitzer, which is kind of what I bought into here. He's got some stoutness because of his build, 6'1", basically 230. The length is a little bit underwhelming, but he does things pretty average across the board. Some things above average for me. Doesn't have a ton of weaknesses though. It's not shedding. There's not really a lot of things that I don't think he does at an okay level. So that's why he kind of gets his way up here. But John, again, you got this big flyer. I think if you get in the right spot, he's going to have a chance to connect on special teams immediately. And then yes, Cody Lindbergh wraps the list. Charles, I thought of you, man. I thought of you when I put this together. I was like, we're going on here. We ain't doing it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things, bro. No, Lindenberg is fun to watch. Again, critically, I think he's below average in a lot of areas, but I think he has the intelligence that could find a spot. My problem is he doesn't, I don't think, deal with contact at the second level that well. Okay, just started doing that. All right, let me switch. We need a timer.
I just need a timer. There we go. I switched it. I just need a timer that's off, and it's like, hey man, it probably is messed up now. Just switch it over to the other one. That would be good if we just had like a timer. Streamer, add that on it. Like when my voice gets trashed, you're just like, yo, switch it. Because when I switch it, it fixes it. I don't know why, but it does. Maybe I just leave this thing unplugged. It'll fix it. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing here. Okay, there you go. That's linebacker. And then we'll go to defensive line. I knew this was going to be all over the place. Here we go. Interior defensive line. So Mason Graham's one. I'm comfortable with that. I think he's going to work at the next level. I love the way he plays. I think he impacts pass and run game. Maybe physically doesn't have all the traits that you love, but I love watching Mason Graham play football, man. Walter Nolan is at 2, and I'm not comfy with this. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like, it's never something where I've watched him and I'm like, oh, I'm in love with Walter Nolan. You guys know I've never gotten there, never mocked him to the Lions. I still don't feel that even putting him at 2. But that said, the more I thought about it, the more I went through the player, the more I kept coming back to this. And I know he called himself, he thinks that he's Aaron Donald of this year's draft. Hey, I hope he is, man. And especially if we draft him. Unless he goes like Green Bay or something, then don't be the Aaron Donald of the draft. But no, I hope he is awesome like that. My thing is, what puts him up here is, I know I've used the word a lot, but it's the critical factors. They are outstanding. And it screams first round pick. Or so Walter Nolan gets there. Pass rush, get off, play strength. You can do all those things, right? You do more consistency as pass rush. Derek Carmen comes in next. Again, I'm a fan of Derek Carmen. I think he's very worthy of the top 20 pick. I'm at 11 for. Grant Kenneth Grant's a little lower, right, from consistency. He doesn't always play to his anchor, which is the problem, but I'm a fan of Kenneth Grant. Very natural pad level, which, is probably the best thing for him. And talk about the, the combination of like, oh, maybe he could be Aaron Donald. And he's got a lot of bend to his game, a lot of contact balance, strong ankles. It's just putting it all together, man. He puts himself out of play, doesn't play the right well consistently. He can kind of blow guys up and then push them backwards. And he'll have stretches where he dominates, and other stretches where it's like, what is he doing? I can see he's athletic, but I don't even know where he's going. Awareness needs to be better. TJ Sanders. I like TJ Sanders a lot. I think there's a chance that he misses at that level because of his build, but I think his ability to rush passer, find an edge, be strong through contact, play the run at his size, consistently technique sound. That's why I buy into him. Alec Williams gets in here. We did a full video on him, so I'll kind of just leave it there. Check that out. Then we go to Turner, Caldwell, Alexander. So this is where it all kind of gets bunched together. Shamar Turner for me. Obviously, the flags are a problem, but I've only heard good things about the character, so I don't have too much concern about that. Jamari Caldwell is awesome. Like, I'm just gonna let y'all know. I hope the Lions take Jamari Caldwell. Like, dude, the more I watch him, every time I watch him, like, I love this dude. And it feels like Elaine McNeil. I've compared that before, but I just love watching. He doesn't have the best body type. Right? He doesn't feel the most explosive. Sometimes it feels like he kind of gets just lingering around in pass rush. He's not just dominating dudes backwards, but he gets an edge. He locks out. He can settle down single blocks. He can deal with double teams. He can flash that ability. He's versatile on the interior. I think he's gonna hit. I'm willing to bet on Jamari Caldwell hitting at the next level. I'm a big fan. Darius Alexander. I know my grade was a little bit lower, so I kind of just stuck with it. But Darius Alexander can get after it, and this dude has. I think he's a dark horse to go round one because he's built for today's NFL. He's got the pass rush upside. He dominated the process. I mean, he was one of maybe the most impressive players at the Senior Bowl. He's got a case to go. I think round one. I think he's got a dark horse case. I think he'll go round two. Norman a little bit lower. Obviously, he's super rotational, but he could get after the quarterback. We can see that he's got so much juice in his game. It's just not always consistently there, but that's what you're buying into. Collins, yeah, is a bully, man. That dude's massive. He's strong as heck. He's long. I thought about flipping him with Norman a lot. I just kind of leaned more towards the pass rush upside here. Collins' flexibility will help him play a lot in the right spot for him and get run defense day one, which is great. I just kind of bought into, I think that you're going to have more upside potential clearly with Norman Lott. And if that hits, which it definitely could because he is that athletic, if he gave you 5 sacks a season, which is a lot, dude, you would. I mean, if you get 5 sacks a season, like everybody's taking that. So that's why I get in. CJ West is good at everything to me. He's good. He's not dominant. There's certain teams. I think he's more of an upfield player. But he's going to kind of push gaps, get an edge. But he's good at everything. I think he's a plus at everything. And then we go to where we have Riley Mills. Oh, yeah, Riley Mills. Riley Mills gets in here out of Notre Dame. Again, another player I really like. I know we've talked about him a little bit. I think we've kind of spoiled this one a little bit. I mean, y'all have been on him. I'm a fan of him. We just haven't been able to kind of come together and share that love for Riley Mills and what he's capable of, man. But to me, he's kind of like a 3-4 DN. He reminded me of John Kaminsky. I feel like, I wonder why that's the case. But no, I mean, to be honest, to me, he's kind of like a Pat O'Connor, like to use a Lions comp, the way he's built, the flexibility up the line. He's a little bit older of a prospect. So many of these guys are. He's plus in everything, just not to the level of CJ West. So I think this is the perfect, like, oh yeah, just put him right behind CJ West, and you're going to feel pretty good about your rankings there. Then we go to Farmer. Farmer has the upside, 6'3", 305, built incredibly well for today's NFL. It's just the consistency was never really there for him. I know he can move up and down the line. He's got insanely long arms. Like, dude, if he did fall around 3, some team would be very happy about that flyer at that point. Consistency as a pass rusher needs a lot of work for me. But he can play with nice pad level. He can get upfield. He can slant well. He's got a really well-built frame. It's just the leg drive isn't always there, but he's powerful in the hips. He's got a lot of the traits. Man. If I was going to go higher than this, Tim Smith, he's going to go lower. These guys shouldn't be next to each other, but I like Tim Smith. I like him. I understand there might be some limitations. I think he's consistent. I think he does a job at high consistent level. I like it. And then Broughton or Broughton, I don't know how you say his name, out of Texas, wraps up the list at 15. He goes on here because, well, I had a couple guys that I considered. I mean, this was the case for every position. I consider a guy out of Ohio State, the nose tackle, whose name is slipping my mind right now. I considered him heavily, but Burrow to me is more consistent. Now he feels a little bit kind of tight, like he's very kind of straight line, a little bit linear. That said, though, he's powerful, super powerful, creates a lot of leverage, can really bend, can sink, can get on the blocks, can play up and down the line. You put him in a 3, you can put him at a DN, you can put him at a nose tackle, and he can rush the quarterback. He's got enough get off. I like him, and actually he was the last addition to this list. I was watching him again last night before last night before I went to bed, like 2 in the morning, whatever. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put on this again. And then Ty Robinson, he's kind of like the next out, right? He's like the March Madness, you know what I mean? He's just like chilling on the outside looking in. Ty Robinson will probably go above a couple of these guys. Specifically, he'll go above Tim Smith. Should go above Tim Smith. I'm cool with that. He's tall. He's the guy that is like, oh, you can play him everywhere, right? You can play him inside, play him outside. I just wonder about the ceiling for sure. Like I don't think it's a great ceiling. He's a heck of an athlete. He's super powerful in the upper body, and he does the same thing every game. Every game, you know exactly what you're gonna get. It's like, all right, here's how he's gonna win, and then he does that. It's like, all right, yeah, he is basically the same guy every single game. That's pretty good, So I buy into that, and it'll connect to the next level. He'll play the run, rush, the passer, get an edge. He's got consistent hands that are active and they're fiery. He's strong in the upper body, so he's kind of just on the outside looking in. So that wraps it. That wraps it, man. Let me make sure I don't miss it. Make sure I don't miss this here. I guess I got to text while we're live. Make sure everything's good. Yeah, David Walker. Well, he's on the edge list. He's on the edge rankings, but I limited it to 15 here. So like I didn't throw the entire list. I could have threw the entire list and he would have been on there. I just limited it to 15. That's why he's not on the list. But if you saw the edge rankings, he was on there. What was he? I didn't change him, so it should be the exact same. I didn't touch him at all. Should be, unless I grabbed the wrong one. Well, I think he might have been like 17. He might have been just on the outside. Let me see. I have him. So I have him behind Savion, behind Uman Yellen, behind Hugh Robinson. So he was like 18. Yeah, he was right outside. He's right outside. I like David Walker. He's right outside, but he wasn't in the top 15. There's a lot of good edge rushers, man. He's a lot of good edge rushers, bro. Like this, it's a good class. It lives up to it. I hope we get like 2 edge and a high linebacker and 8 DT, 4 players. It's very possible, dude. It's super possible. At least to get a DT and a DN. Like I think that's very possible they pull that off. But yeah, chat, I'm gonna end this here, man. I don't know exactly what the rest of the day holds. I know we got a whole bunch of stuff we gotta get to, so I gotta go get ready for that. But I will say, the plan is to be back live tonight. Even if I can't do it over here, I'll just cut it and throw it over here. Predictive mock. So at worst, I'll figure it out. We'll get it over here somehow at some point. But predictive mock will be on Bleacher for sure. That's the plan. 6 p.m. Eastern time, and it'll get over here at some point, whether it's live or afterward. At some point, it'll get over there. But if y'all can help me out, with the audio, that'd be dope. So if y'all have Bleacher Report at, man, join me at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Help me out with the audio because I'm sure it's gonna be cutting there, and I won't know if it's doing it. So if anybody has time, man, I'd appreciate that. Plus, you'd see my predictive mock at the time. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, man. I appreciate you joining. I will see you guys soon, and I'm going to head out. Have a great day, man, and I'll be back. You'll see clips, man. Stay tuned.